Hi friends, I'm so excited. I am finally getting back to my Backlist Reading Vlogs. These are vlogs that I kind of feature a favorite booktuber and read books off my physical TBR that were inspired by them. Maybe they're books that I already had on my TBR, but their review of them is making me really want to read them. Did that make sense? Yeah, I already had them, and then a favorite booktuber really liked the book, so moved it up on my priority list. Or I got the book because a favorite booktuber recommended it, and it's been on my shelves for years. I've been watching booktube since the pandemic, so 5 years. I've been on booktube, having my own channel, for a year and a half, I guess, now at this point. So I've done a couple other episodes like this, and I'll link them below, or the playlist below. It is very hot, humid, and allergenous. Allergenous? The allergens are out in Atlanta. That's what I mean. This episode is in honor of one of my favorite booktubers who we read sort of similarly, somewhat, maybe, I would say, but I have been in her Patreon since she started it, and she's just been a joy to get to know, and that is Chloe at Always Booked. And the first book I'm going to be reading that I did get because of her review. It was when I was last year when I was trying romance books. Was it last year? Yeah, I was starting to try and read some romance books because I used to read more romance books, and they're just kind of light, sometimes light, fluffy reads that I need. And there was a series that she really liked by an author I hadn't heard of before, and it was the Billy and Me series by Giovanna Fletcher. And I read Billy and Me and really liked it, so I got the second book, Always with Love. And so I'm going to start with this one. Chloe really liked it. I am already a few chapters in and decided that I'm going to do this one on audio. I got it on Libro FM. And yeah, so I will check back with you. This week is not a lot going on. I am starting this vlog a little bit later. I started reading and then realized I hadn't actually started the vlog, mainly because I had an infusion yesterday that really knocked me off my feet, which I haven't had an infusion do that in a while. So today's Tuesday, and I pretty much just slept. I have all three in audiobook, but honestly, audio seems to be the only thing that's working for me right now, and so I kind of have a backlog of audiobooks that I need to read. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not set. I'm not gonna force myself to read these quickly. This vlog will be ready when it's ready, and we are in June, so it's Joy Reading June. Yeah, let's find out what happens in the next book in the Billy and Me series. Good morning. This vlog has sort of taken different turns. I've stopped, and things have just gotten slow with reading because I'm reading several other things at once. But I wanted to give you an update on Always with Love by Gianna Fletcher. I remember, so I read Billy and Me, the first one in the book, or in the series, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe. And I remember the general premise of, our main character's name is Sophie. And she lives in a small town in England and works in a bakery. And Billy is a Hollywood actor who comes to the town that Sophie lives in and to film Pride and Prejudice, I think. And they build a relationship. And she moves to London with him, I think. My memory is kind of vague on that. But basically, the second book, I can't tell too much because they could potentially be, well, I don't know. The back of the book kind of gives you a little bit of the spoilers, but Sophie and Billy end up going to LA to see his parents or his family, and just kind of dealing with not only your partner's family, however, pros and cons, good and bad, which everyone has, and also kind of Billy getting more interested in a film that's being done in the US, and Sophie now owns the bakery and needs to get back. So we kind of go into that. I'm only a little bit into it. I'm listening to the audiobook, and it's fine. It's, kind of like a romance. It's a romance with some family drama on the side. Yeah. Not really sure about Billy's mom. She's interesting. Reading it, but it's a typical sweet romance so far. There's probably some drama about to happen. So I'll check it back in later. Getting ready to do some filming, and I realized that I have not updated the vlog in a minute. My sister and nephew were in town with their dog. They got a new dog. My nephew was told by his parents he could get a dog when he was 8, and the first minute he turned 8, or even before that, he was reminding them of that promise. So then they said he could get a dog at the end of the school year. And so he got his dog the second day they were out of school. she's a really sweet dog. She's pretty timid. So I didn't really get great video from their visit. I was really focused on having a good time with them. And my dog did not get along with her. My dog just isn't super dog friendly. And yeah, she was fine with Remy. Mabel was fine with Remy, but any other dog she's not very good with. So that was a bummer. We had to keep them separated and in a small space, but Mabel did well for the most part. My fridge decided to stop working, the bottom. So I have a freezer on top, fridge, and so the refrigerator part stopped working. The freezer is working kind of at not optimal freezing. It's a thing. And the landlord's been great. She got a new one ordered, the new one came, and it won't fit through the door. So yeah, I'm still having to pretty much freeze stuff in the freezer and then thaw it out. But not everything can be frozen. Yeah, not everything can be frozen and unfrozen, defrosted, thawed, whatever. So it's been a kind of bumpy weekend, but it was still a great visit. We played a lot of spirited games of Uno, and pretty sure the 8-year-old won most of it. I think I won the last round, so now he's gonna go practice for me for a rematch for when I'm up there at Christmas. Anyway, that was the weekend, and I did finish Always with Love by Giovanna Fletcher. This is just a sweet, predictable romance. I'm giving it about 3-star. It's a sequel to Billy and Me, where Sophie is like just an everyday person, and she meets a famous actor that she doesn't know is a famous actor, and they fall in love. And this is a sequel, mainly just going through different things in their lives. So did like this. It did remind me of Chloe, because she likes those sweet romances, kind of the predictable things, because she's a busy mom, and sometimes that's what we all need, right? I am also about halfway through Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. I don't remember if I've updated about this, but with thrillers, I'm not reading synopses just because they tell too much a lot of the times. And this one, I don't want to tell too much to ruin anything, but it's basically a story of marrying someone you think you know, and then finding out who they truly are. So, enjoying it. Today is Tuesday. I am hoping to finish Behind Closed Doors today, and then start my third book, my third Read Like Chloe my third Read Like Chloe book today, or tomorrow. I mean, I know the whole country is dealing with a heat wave right now, and it's not really a heat wave in Atlanta. It's pretty much what's to be expected at the end of June in Atlanta. It's in the mid to high 90s, and yeah, humid, and you basically drip sweat the minute you get out of the shower. So we went to the pool over the weekend last week, and I have to get my community pass updated. I didn't realize I have to do that every year. Last year was the first year that I had a community pass, that I had found out about it to use the community pools. So I need to go get that updated, because I know if it's 95 in June, it will be over 100 in July and August. So definitely going to get that taken care of. So yeah, now on for some reading and filming some videos. I'm very excited about a couple of readathons happening in July that some friends are hosting, and of course continuing on with Big Book Summer and getting a new refrigerator. I'm in the middle of filming some videos, but I thought I would stop and add to the vlog that I did go to the thrift store with my sister and nephew, as I expected. We did never go to the bookstore, which was probably fine, because I got some books at the thrift store. I was good. I was very good. But first off, I got my dog a shirt because she is the nap queen, and it was cute. And, you know, she doesn't need it now because it's super hot, but got some, I love the like silky type pajama bottoms in the heat. So I got a pair of those, and then these are walking shorts for walking. They're Old Navy. Main thing, pocket. I need pockets when I'm walking the dog. I love Vera Bradley, and I found 2 wallets. This is like a little clutch, and then this is like a wallet type thing. And then the books. So I got books that I have seen in bookstores that I've been interested in and have not gotten. These were, paperbacks were $1, I think. Southbound by Anjali NGT. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I saw this a while ago, and it is about a woman who moved from Detroit to Chattanooga in the 80s, and it's kind of a new world with Confederate flags, Bible verses, and whiteness. She learns how to get her bearings as a mixed race brown girl in the Deep South, and begins to understand how identity can inspire, inform, and shape a commitment to activism. All those things are of great interest to me, and I've heard really good things about that book. This next book is All Because of Lindsay at Lindsay's Little Library. This is The Life We Bury by Alan Eskins. She raves about this book, so I saw it at the thrift store and decided I must read it. And yeah, I'm excited about it. Excited to try that one. So this one I've seen in the bookstore as well, One Summer in Savannah by Tara Shelton Harris. This is about a girl or woman who is assaulted, has a daughter as a result of the assault, and leaves her hometown where the assault happened. But she has to return to take care of her father. And the family of her attacker still lives in town. He has an identical twin brother. And she's kind of trying to keep the daughter a secret, and where it goes from there. So will be a heavy read, but one I am curious to try. That was my thrift haul. Wasn't bad. 3 books and a couple of odds and ends. show you a book, but Hopper's in the way. I just finished Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. This is a book that I owned, and then Chloe said that she also really likes B.A. Paris, which I do too now that I've read 2 of her books, and definitely want to read more. This was intense. It was somewhat predictable in the beginning, and I mean, I guess it's sort of predictable throughout, but I really liked it. I really liked it. The next book I'm going to give this 4 stars. It's about a woman who basically marries a man she thinks is perfect, and then is he really? The next book I'm going to read, I did buy because of Chloe's review, and that is Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry. This is about Noah's mom, who Noah has done some sort of crime as a teenager, and she has to kind of deal with the aftermath of that. So I don't want to read too much into it and into the back, but I also know that Chloe reviewed this, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and it took me a while to even get to it, but I'm going to start this one probably also on audio. That seems to be what's working for me these days. It's very hot and humid, if you can't tell. So yeah, I hope to get this one read soon, and hopefully it won't be too heavy, but maybe, I don't know. I'm just having my breakfast and want to talk to you about this book. I knew this was going to be a hard book, and it was a really hard book. I actually didn't tell Chloe that I was reading this one. I was going to keep one as a surprise because the other 2 she knew about. However, I ended up having to send her a message and talk about it because it was such a hard read. And I'm glad that I at least could talk to her about it. I don't know many other people who have read this book, and it's not a book that I would recommend to many people, not for poor writing or anything like that. It's just really hard topics. And I didn't do any updates. I didn't really know what to say. I didn't know how to react to it. But I am done with this book, and I'm still wrapping my mind around it. And when I close out the vlog, which will be probably later today, I will let you know more about it. I will say that there's a lot of content warnings in this book that I wish the author would put like on the front page. I've seen authors do that, and I think it's a really, really good practice and something that needs to be accepted and done more widely. So this book is written by a clinical psychologist, and I work with clinical psychologists, and I think that in this instance, it led to a little bit of blinders on, but not ignoring things, more of tunnel vision is probably the better way to put it. Tunnel vision on how to treat effective psychiatric hospital type things, medications, things like that, that I just think were not realistic in different settings. I think it was just, yeah. But I'll talk about that more later today. I really just have to sit with how I want to review this, and yeah, so. Okay, so I want to wrap up the vlog. I read the 3 books that were books that Chloe had always booked really likes. The top 2 I bought because of watching Chloe's review of them. And then the B.A. Paris book I had already on my shelves, and Chloe likes that book as well. So let's start there. So I read Behind Closed Doors. This is a psychological thriller, I guess, psychological domestic thriller. It's about a woman who marries a man that she thinks is perfect, and we know how that trope kind of goes, but it was predictable, but it was a good read. I really like B.A. Paris's writing style. I will say the ending is satisfying. And yeah, if you've ever read B.A. Paris or are interested, I would say this is a great one to start with. Who would I compare her to? I mean, she's sort of comparable to Alice Feeney, who is one of my favorites. I think for me, B.A. Paris doesn't always, like when I read Alice Feeney, I know this isn't for everybody, but for me, when I read Alice Feeney, I really read it quickly, and when I'm done, I'm just kind of in a, what the heck did I just read? And I should say, this is only my second B.A. Paris. I've read all of Alice Feeney's works, so that may change as I read more. But I really liked it, and there was disability representation in here that I thought was well done. There is content warning for death of a pet, and like I said, the ending is very satisfying. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I highly recommend trying a B.A. Paris. I did give this 3 stars. No, I gave this 4 stars. I also read Always with Love by Giovanna Fletcher. This is the second in a series, a duology. The first one is Billy and Me, and it's basically about a famous actor who meets like small town girl, and they begin a relationship in Billy and Me. And then this is the continuation of their relationship, and I liked it. It was predictable and sweet, but at the time I read it, that's what I needed. And to me, this is totally a Chloe book, because she does love romance, and it's like romance that's sweet and not a lot of spice, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do recommend. I do think that I rated both Billy and Me and Always with Love 3 stars. I think I like Billy and Me more, and maybe it's just because it's that start of the romance. But yeah, I mean, I think you would want to start there anyway, since that kind of introduces their love story. Now, I mentioned that I didn't do many clips while reading Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry, which is a book that I I bought after watching Chloe's review, and part of it was that Lucinda Berry is a clinical psychologist, and I work with clinical psychologists, and just the not wanting to go back to school and have more student loan debt is why I haven't gone back to get my PhD in psychology. I think it's a really interesting field, and that's what drew my attention to this book when Chloe reviewed it. I have over time been drawn to books that are by and about psychology, clinical psychology. I don't know. I kind of sort of am thinking maybe I should just stop reading those books, because sometimes they get things wrong, or kind of simplify things. I don't think Lucinda Berry did that here, but I'm still not comfortable with the book. I don't think you're supposed to be. It's a really uncomfortable topics, and I read it differently because I'm not a mother. It's very much a mother's story. But there are definitely things that I could sympathize with that I couldn't even, I don't know what I would do in that situation. It's about Noah's mom. Well, Noah is the teenager, and he is guilty of a crime and put into a treatment program. It really looks at the mother's reaction to the crime. He never says that he didn't do it. And her struggle with what happened, but also her struggle with her love for her son, and also how that relates to and impacts the rest of the family. There's a younger sister and the dad, and it was interesting to see that point of view. I think that it kind of puts sort of unrealistic expectations on psychiatric care, such as inpatient psychiatric hospitals, from my experience, that basically they could stay as long as they needed to until they got better, quote, better. And that's just not the case in the US medical system. You get a certain amount of weeks from health insurance, and I don't even know if it's weeks anymore. It might just be days. And yeah, you don't really have much choice unless you're wealthy and can pay for it out of pocket, which this family was not. So I guess that's kind of one of my sticking points with it, is that it sort of gives the idea that the mother wouldn't also be struggling with the medical care system. I don't know that I would recommend this book to many people. It's a really hard book to read. It's about child abuse and suicide, and there's just a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, I'm not sorry I read it. It surprises me, and I got to talk to Chloe about this. It does surprise me that she read it, because I feel like it's really a hard book to read. But she did say that in her review. I do remember that. But yeah, so I'm giving this a 3-star. I think I like, I get what the author is trying to do, and she did a fairly good job of doing it. I didn't like all parts of the story, and didn't think that parts of it were needed, especially the last chapter. If you've read this, you know what I'm talking about, where it kind of looks back at like some research areas in psychiatry that haven't necessarily been proven completely. And it kind of brings up that whole nature versus nurture genetic kind of role in personality and how a person develops what they want. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it's hard to explain without giving away spoilers. So I'll just say the last chapter just seems like it's opening a door that she doesn't give herself time to really talk about, and it leaves the reader feeling like, wait, why are we doing this? Why are we bringing this into it? I just didn't think it was necessary. So those are the 3 books that I read like Chloe, and I enjoyed reading them. Glad I read Saving Noah. I won't say I enjoyed reading it, but I did. I was messaging with Chloe about it because I'm like, really? This book is really hard. Like, I had to stop reading it. I was reading it too fast because it was so intense. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my Read Like Chloe vlog. I am going to be doing some more of these projects throughout the rest of the year. I don't know when I'm going to do the next one because I have some other plans. But if you enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe and hit the like button, and I will see you soon. Bye.